Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I am the stepson of Krypton,
And I'm Mantis.
and today on You, Me, and DC, we are discussing exactly what's behind me.
What is that? Oh, X-Men.
That's it.
Oh,
X-Men. Yeah.
Uh,
So X-Men.
uh.
So at the time of recording, I'm gonna try to get these out. We've been recording so much because of all the new information lately. I'm gonna try to get them out sooner rather than later. So this isn't ancient news. But X-Men 97 is just released. Now, Mantis and I are fans of the original X-Men cartoon, debuted in '92. Okay, with Night of the Sentinels. It's an amazing episode. Loved
Very good episode.
The came in a McDonald's Happy Meal. We've discussed before.
Yep.
But we are definitely fans of the old X-Men. And if I'm being honest, obviously when I was a kid, growing up in the 80s, Superman was my go-to superhero. The Superman movies had come out in the late 70s into the 80s as well. The X-Men were my first foray really into the Marvel universe, right? Like up until then, I'd read some comics, but I was so leaned heavily into DC, hence why the channel's called You, Me, and DC, because of the Superman movie, and like he was my favorite superhero, still is, and all that. But the X-Men cartoon was really like the X-Men are my first like introduction to Marvel, right? Realistically. And then I started reading X-Men actually made me start reading comics and things of that because I wanted to know more. And there was this whole universe that was going, and all these mutants with these cool powers where Superman was this godlike character, but there was really only Superman, right? You didn't have the Justice League. I know there was Wonder Woman in like old TV shows and stuff like that, but of the current time. So X-Men holds a place in my heart as far as for comic books, cartoons, and just superheroes in general when we talk about the Marvel universe. X-Men for me is what started it all. Mantis, I don't know how you feel.
Yeah, I think it's because we kind of grew up around the same time, completely different states. But the X-Men the X-Men animated series was kind of really my first real deep dive into superheroes. I'd seen Superman, the animated, not the new animated series, but there was an old cartoon Superman. Seen a couple episodes of that. Again, my dad used to watch old live action Superman and Batman with the old Adam West and stuff. But yeah, as far as like, yeah, RIP there. X-Men, the animated series was, you knew when that you heard that theme song come on, you're like, fuck yeah, let's go. And you get to, yeah, it was awesome.
Saturday morning cartoons, awesome. like yeah. Excited as shit.
Yeah, yep. The intro was awesome. Gambit was my favorite X-Men. But also it was at the time, and I'm just gonna point this out, it was pretty diverse, different cultures, different countries involved. Obviously, you have females being superheroes quite prominent in this series, one of the most powerful ones. Actually, the top two powerful mutants, I would think. Maybe correct me if I'm wrong there, but Storm's pretty fucking powerful, and Jean Grey's pretty powerful.
Rogue's the powerhouse of it too. In the cartoon, in the comics. Now the movies, no,
I don't. Yeah, okay. I'm not. But yeah.
But the majority of it, and the thing is, they weren't trying. Like nowadays, it's like, nope, we got to cut this person out. We need somebody diverse. They weren't trying back then. That never even crossed their fucking minds, right? That's what you should be thinking, right? Let's make good characters. Who cares? And then guess what? Happy accident. They turn out to check all your boxes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
imagine that. Imagine that you made a good story and the animation was good. The voice acting was good. I mean, I guess to a degree. I mean, Wolverine doesn't really. He's kind of growls most of the time, and sounds like he's smoked half his life. But like everyone else did pretty good job on it. I mean, and in this, again, you just no one thought about this shit. You just made a good series, and it was good. Like it was good. If it's good, it's good. I hate using that because it sounds repetitive, and kind of sounds dumb. But If it's good, then it's good. Like that's just how it is. Back then, no
Well,
one
that's how
cared.
simple it is, right? If it's
Yeah,
good, it's good. That's it.
yeah. So with this, we talked about this before. Like we're kind of going to this foray of the X-Men '97 series that is released on Disney Plus. There's 2 episodes out currently for this. I think we discussed about kind of watching the new series, and I won't say comparing it. I'm not gonna. I mean, in the back of my mind, I'm gonna end up comparing it because it's what they want you to do. Like it's literally the same. Like it's supposed to be the same characters from the old animated series. So that's how I'm going to view it. It has gotten mixed reviews. I've seen little clips here and there. It looks interesting, looks good. And again, and maybe this is my bias. I can put up with a little of faults here and there if the action's good, just because of the nostalgia factor for me. I don't want to say it's on the same level as they can make a massive mistake as Star Wars did, because that's just not going to happen for me. But from what I've seen so far, it's interesting. So we're going to be watching the series, and we'll kind of do a couple videos here and there on because I think they're doing 2 episodes at a time. So be on the lookout for those discussion videos on the latest episodes of the X-Men '97. And I'm sure we can mix in a couple of other news that surrounds the series, because again, it does seem like it's going to be quite controversial. So you can get our thoughts on the 4A opinions of the interwebs and the Twitterverse or Xverse. I don't know what you call it now, but
Now, normally, guys, and I apologize, I want to try to get better about it on this channel because we want to have a community that is full of engagement here, right? And a lot of times I catch myself not trying to involve you guys until we get to the end, where I'm like, hey, leave a comment, something down below. So I want to do it right now. And not what you're thinking. We don't ever do that until the end. But let us know down in the comments, like, are you a child of the 80s, 90s like us? Did you grow up watching the X-Men series? Have you, by the time this video comes out, started watching X-Men 97? Kind of let us know where does X-Men sit as far as when, we think your childhood, kind of like I just told you, and Mantis told you story of how it ties into our childhood. Let us know down there, you don't mind sharing with the community here, kind of where X-Men kind of sits in your heart. Because like I said, as far as Marvel, I love the MCU, Captain America and all this stuff, but X-Men is at the core of my being from Marvel. And I'm really, really scared to watch X-Men 97 because I'm going to go into it trying not to be biased against, everything. Like what I don't want is, what I'm really afraid of is, we've seen it through Star Wars. We saw it in with Spider-Man, is you're doing a lot of this to try to, and even in Flash, to try to tug at my heartstrings, the nostalgia strings, right? That, oh, hey, we brought Michael Keaton back as Batman. Oh, hey, we got Tobey Maguire back as Spider-Man. Oh, hey, we do all of this, and we got Carrie Fisher back, and we did this. And don't get me wrong, for a lot of it worked. Star Wars definitely did not. But a lot of it did work. But I don't want you to just try to tug at my heartstrings to get somebody who's loved the characters for a very long time, and then start trying to inject all this stupid shit that doesn't need to be in there, that makes your new shit, right?
yeah.
That's what I don't want.
Here's the thing.
And I'm scared.
Like I said before, they're doing this on purpose, right? They didn't make a new X-Men series. This is literally the continuation of the old series. That's one.
Because the old series ended in 97 or 96 or 97, didn't it? It was 92 to 90. Yeah. I could be wrong on that. I'm going to look that up.
It's on purpose.
Doesn't yell at me in the comments.
Yeah, it's on purpose that they're doing it this way. But the thing about it is, if they hit a home run with it, all of a sudden, then it's awesome, right? It's not like, oh, they made another X-Men series and it's good. It's like, okay, these are the same characters I grew up with and it's awesome, right? Like now, if this does well, like we've talked about this before, you cannot find the original animated series X-Men on Blu-ray. It doesn't exist unless someone copied it and burned it and is just trying to sell it on Etsy or something stupid, right? Like they don't have that series, and maybe it's a rights issue. I have no idea. Let us know that in the comments too. I have no idea why they don't have it, but they just don't. But it's a thing. It's like it's high risk, high reward was what they're doing here. It's very high risk, could be high reward if they succeed. But if they fail at it, it's going to piss a lot of people off.
Well, so the problem is, and real quick, I just looked it up because I was pretty sure, but I don't want you guys roasting me in the comments when I say something wrong on accident. Thanks, guys. It was from 92 to 97. So this basically takes place basically picking up from 1997. I feel like if it does well, it's gonna divide the X-Men fandom from people who remember the original cartoon, either loved it or hated it, and if they loved it, the newer generation might hate it, or vice versa, right? Because we're going into it looking for the nostalgia. Like, okay, this is X-Men 97. This is basically, and it's supposed to be a continuation from the animated series, or that loose tie-in. So that's what I'm going into it looking for, right? I want Rogue to actually have some fucking powers and to do something. She was a powerhouse in the original cartoon, right? I want these things back in my X-Men cartoon. I don't want to see Morph as being, just a them they. I'm sorry, I don't. Like, I want to see my characters that I loved basically continued on in better, newer animation, but with the same kind of detail you put into the story and the character development that made me care about these characters.
Yeah. We'll find out. It's Disney. They could completely fuck it up. It's very possible. In fact, the odds are is that they do. Like, I will say that. It's not heavily. It's not like they've done much good here in the past couple years. So, and we talked about this before. They fired the lead, not the lead, but they fired the animator that was from the old series. Remember, we discussed that in another.
No. He was the writer. He has written season 1 and 2 and was getting ready to start on 3. Plus, he's done several other Marvel. He's been producer on several other Marvel projects. And yeah, we did a video on that. Again, I'm not sure when that's good. It's already recorded, but I'm not sure when I'm going to release it versus this one. That scares me. Why? Because it was a very abrupt departure, right?
Yeah.
However, I look at the Deadpool Wolverine, because it was supposed to be basically Deadpool, and now it's called Deadpool Wolverine. They've got Wolverine in the iconic yellow suit in there. It gives me a little hope, right? As well, so the actor, it's Vinny something, the guy who plays Juggernaut in the third X-Men movie, in the original 3 X-Men movies.
Don't you know who I am? I'm the Juggernaut, bitch!
That played Juggernaut, that was god-awful fucking terrible. You destroyed one of my favorite characters in X-Men. You destroyed Juggernaut. He's not a fucking mutant, but you destroyed him. He actually did an interview, and I'll put a clip of it in here. Don't worry about it. But he actually does an interview where he was asked about coming back, or there was discussion about him coming back as Juggernaut in the X-Men, the Deadpool Wolverine movie. And supposedly it's not happening, right? Supposedly it was turned down, that they said they don't have the money to put him back in that suit.
We couldn't strike the deal for Deadpool, but I mean, Deadpool's my favourite movie of time, more or less. But I really wanted to do it, but they didn't have the budget to put me in the suit.
And he goes, I would have loved it. He goes, Deadpool's my favorite. I'm like, thank fucking God you were not going to be in that movie. Like, I like the actor, don't get me wrong. I hate his portrayal of Juggernaut. It is an absolute abomination. And I don't understand, I'm sorry, tangent real quick. It's what we do here. I watch so many reaction channels because, our channel first started, we were doing reaction videos, right? So I still keep up with a lot of them. And these attractive girls will watch X-Men 3 and they're like, oh, Juggernaut this, or they'll watch Deadpool. Oh, he's not the same as he was in the X-Men movies. What's going on? I'm like, well, yeah, that in the X-Men movies, you don't know shit because that's not how he was, because he's not a fucking mutant. Okay, it's not where he got his powers from. That little fucking kid shouldn't have affected him. So his portrayal of Juggernaut was an absolute abomination. I'm glad we're not going to see it. I want Juggernaut back from the cartoon. That's what I want, and that's what Deadpool basically had him as. So it gives me hope. If we can summarize all of my tangent there, that they're not fucking things up because they're trying to do certain things that are back on brand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but it's Disney, man.
That's what I'm just gonna
say.
Like
it's Disney.
They could fuck up a wet dream, but it's like they could. Like this is just like a softball. It's a layup. Like it's a layup. And somehow I have in the back of my head, I'm just like, don't get excited because it's just gonna be you're gonna get excited and then they're just gonna fuck it up and then you're gonna hate it and you're gonna hate yourself for watching it.
Excuse me.
And then we're gonna have to get on here and bitch about it. And I don't want to bitch about it. I want to say this is awesome. This is the best part of the series. This last episode was amazing. Like that's what I want to do. It's what I really want to do. But I gotta be honest. It's not what I think is gonna happen. Like
I know it's not what's gonna happen. They're gonna fuck it up. It's just like after real quick, since we're on Disney, quick little side note. After watching the original, because with Star Wars, we grew up on the original 4, 5, and 6. Okay. After watching the 1, 2, and 3 come out, I'm like, God, this was terrible. Like, there's no way it's going to get worse. And then Rogue One came out. Rogue One was great, right? And Rogue One kind of gave me some hope. I'm like, all right, you're going to come out with a new trilogy. All you have to do is not do as bad as the original 3 that you put out. The original, like 1, 2, and 3, not the original trilogy, but just the first, the prequels.
All you got to do is not fuck up.
And they fucked that up. They proved it wrong. They're like, bet, as the kids say, bet. Like we can make it worse. Okay, and I'm like, you've kind of destroyed. Like I love like Juggernaut. You fucked him up. I love Apocalypse. He's my favorite villain in all of Marvel. Apocalypse is mine. You destroyed him in that movie. That was an abomination. Like just like oh my god. Like you could not have done Apocalypse probably any worse. Right.
Some part of me thinks like even though it was technically done by an actual studio, like sometimes those movies come across as like they were done by like the Sci-Fi Channel or something. Like it was like, you know what I mean? Like some TV studio, like it was a mini series that they made into a movie or like I don't know.
Well, it's like, do you realize? Okay, so for those of you guys who don't know, I'm gonna do a little backstory here. Okay, X-Men debuted in September of 1963. Okay, it's been out a while. Apocalypse, technically, there was actually, and not the goddamn Joe Rogan show, but in 1986, there was actually X Factor. And to be fair, don't roast me on that. I don't know if the X Factor actually started in 86, but I know the mention of Apocalypse was from 1986. Okay. Been around a long time, and then of course comics they do what they normally do is like, oh wait, this character was supposed to be one of the first mutants. Now we got to try to make it seem like he's been in this backstory of all these comics
the whole time
before, whatever. But Apocalypse has been around for a very, very long time. He has a deep-rooted history in being one of the first mutants, being one of the first of men, period, that met Celestials, and it goes into his whole backstory of why he is the way he is, and very Darwinistic. Only the strong survive is because he doesn't want to get wiped out by the Celestials. All this stuff, right? You have a lot of backstory, but when you made this movie, it seems like you were making it up on the fly, like you've never heard of the character Apocalypse, and now we just got to create shit, right? we gotta make it make sense. And that's what I don't want. Like you're restarting this cartoon over, right? You have a strong foundation from the cartoon of the 90s cartoon. Yes. You have a very strong foundation, a very, very deep-seated backstory of these characters. Very popular characters. Okay? Where the movies have failed, because if you remember, do you remember who the first 5 X-Men were? Do you know who the original 5 actual X-Men were? It's a quick pop quiz.
Like from the comic books? No.
Yeah, when the X-Men originally formed, who the original 5 X-Men were.
No.
Angel, Beast, Cyclops, Iceman. Do you know who the fifth was?
I just said I didn't fucking know who it was.
I thought maybe you'd be able to guess from that, but so wait, now I'm trying to think of who did I say already? We had Angel, Beast, Cyclops, Iceman, and Jean Grey. I don't know how I just forgot her. That was the original 5 X-Men. Okay. Completely changed that in the movies because Iceman was still a kid while Jean Grey and Scott
Right.
Summers were. You ruined Scott Summers in the movies for me, right? Completely.
Well, yeah. We discussed this
Actually,
off camera. That
you kind of
powers
ruined Jean
that they
Grey
showed.
too, but
yeah, the powers in the movie just the movies are, I don't say them. They can be an abomination in a lot of ways. Scott, like his powers are not what they technically are supposed to be. Which again, yeah, go ahead.
Can I want you to expand on that real quick because we're doing a little bit longer of one. This one's going to probably be in the 25-minute range, but I wanted to expand on it because for the newer generation that's going to start watching X-Men 97, that maybe you start picking it up, I want you to understand the differences and what these characters actually were versus what you saw in the movies. So expand on Scott's powers real quick because he was technically the leader of the X-Men.
Yeah. Like in the movies, they portray his powers as, I won't say heat vision, but that's kind of what
It's fucking heat vision.
he would melt things with his vision, like and whatnot. Like his suit and everything is fine, and him controlling it is all well and good, but like essentially, his eyes are a portal to another dimension, essentially another universe, and it's not heat vision. It is a kinetic blast that is coming out. So and again, I was talking with Cal before we got on this video that I'd seen some clips of Cyclops in action in the X-Men 97 videos. Like I said, I haven't seen any of the episodes. I've just seen clips of them, and he's using his vision, his powers to like propel himself while he's fighting. Like he would go and then he'd fly across the screen because it's an actual blast. It's kinetic explosive damage here. It's not heat vision like they portray in the movies. So again, there are things with this that give me hope that they have paid attention to detail of exactly how the mutants' powers are supposed to work, which for you, if they introduce characters like Apocalypse in this series, I'm hoping that they understand that aspect and are going to pay homage and due to what the characters, where they come from, what they're actually supposed to be, and how powerful they actually are.
Dude, for me, that's a high bar because I love Apocalypse from the X-Men cartoon is my favorite. He's about my favorite villain just because he's so well spoken and he's so
yeah.
You listen to him and like the words is like as a kid I'm like I don't even know what the fuck that means. I have to look it up, right? You damn near need a thesaurus sitting here in a dictionary. Like what does that word mean? Because he's so
even Beast was like,
well-spoken.
what did he say? Like I need to look this up, right?
Yeah,
like,
very eloquent, very such a great villain, right?
I am the rocks of the eternal shore. Crash against me and be broken.
That you are going to be very difficult to bring him in. Like the bar set high. The movie, you let me down. But yeah, it's funny because like with Scott, you can look up and you can look the information up and you can see he's not lying on it. It will literally say his eyes give up literally absolutely no heat. It's why I wish they made it a different color than red. Everybody associates red with a laser beam of heat, an explosive beam.
Yeah.
Make it some other color, but yes, his eyes actually give off no heat. And we say it because we're going to be reviewing X-Men 97, being fans of the comics here. Kind of final thoughts on this.
Final thoughts.
is want you to know the characters the way we know them, the way that their comic book origins are. I understand we're in a time nowadays where everybody's like, well, there's change and this. No, you're making these characters based off of characters that were created in the 60s, or in the case of Superman, 30s and things. If you want to make different characters and do whatever you want with them, fine. But this is you're making stuff based off of these characters from the original comic books here. They need to stay true to the character and to the lore, right? I want my original X-Men. I want them to have the powers they were supposed to. I want them to act the way they were supposed to. Otherwise, just create. You have this untold amount of mutants, right? And any combination, make your fucking own. Leave mine alone. All right. Stop making these fucking weird characters and just calling them the same character.
Yeah, I was talking to a couple of people from work about this, and it's like, this is what happened with The Witcher. That, like, when you make, and it ties into our comic book or like video games to movies and movies to video game series, because
which FY none of you watch.
Yeah, like fans of these things are very particular. Okay, you can manipulate certain story arcs, okay, in certain small things, major plots and major characters in those plots. If you touch those, you will lose the audience on it. They will call you on it and they will not like it. That's just how it is. And in this case, again, I'm kind of with Cal on this. Like, I want, and it's not like, oh, I'm drawing a line. I'm making this bridge so far to connect these two things. That's not the case. It's literally called X-Men 97. Okay. I've seen the opening of the new series because it was on Twitter. It's the exact same. It's exactly the same. They're not hiding it. Okay. So I'm expecting it to pick up right where it's left off. So I'm not getting improper expectations here. They're setting the expectations for us. If they don't achieve those, that's on them, not on us. So that's my view on it. Again, from what I've seen, it looks intriguing. They can still fuck it up because it's Disney. I'm just hoping they don't.
I'm really hoping they don't. The bigger, real quick, secondary final thoughts, and we'll wrap up here. Is I'm worried about is that okay? So I'm trying to think of his name now. Because it's a little more of a unique name, but the gentleman who wrote this the first two seasons of X-Men 97 that they have now let go. Go watch the previous video where I actually know what his name is. I can't think of it off the top of my head. Got a lot going on. Deal with it. But he was getting ready to start writing season 3, and they let him go. Do what? Bo, yes, Bo. Yeah, it actually spelled like Beau. Bo DeMeo. Yes, thank you. It was just escaping my attention at the moment. But it worries me that like the first two seasons are going to be good because he wrote them, and he even stated he was a fan of the originals and all this, and he's doing really well. And then season 3 is going to go off the fucking rails if they let it go. So maybe we'll get at least 2 good seasons. All right?
Utah, give me 2.
We'll get up to X-Men 99, and then 2000, you let go fucking crazy. You know, I don't fucking care. Do what you want. But guys, we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up because if it comes to X-Men, I will literally do a 9-hour video about all the things that I love, but also I hate what they've done with the X-Men lately because they keep butchering the series. Except Hugh Jackman, even though he's not the comic book Wolverine, you know, because he's a foot taller. He is my Wolverine, but final thoughts on this. No, just kidding. If you have made it with us this far, guys, consider liking this video. Am I supposed to put like? I'll figure that out in post. I'll figure that out.
Put little bells everywhere.
They're just going to be just popping up all over the place there. But consider liking this video, subscribing to the channel. FYI, we do appreciate all of our new subscribers as well as all of you who continue to stay subscribed to the channel. You, again, are the reason we do this. As I said mid-video, or earlier now, because it's kind of drug this on, let us know down in the comments if you've already started watching by the time this releases X-Men 97. What do you think? Where do X-Men hold the place in your heart as far as your superheroes and villains? And what are your hopes and dreams and fears for this series?
Yeah, let us know in the comments below. Hopefully we get kind of watching these here. They're going to release them. I'm assuming they're going to do 2 a week, so we should be caught up here pretty soon. So, because they're not that long episodes. So, looking forward to discussing this kind of this new X-Men foray with everyone. I think it should be fun.
I think so too. However, for everybody who is subscribed to the channel, if you're just like, don't fucking do it, like, no, just stay away from X-Men, let us know that too. If you just think it's a terrible idea, I don't want to start putting out things that everybody just absolutely fucking hates or nobody cares about. I don't think that's going to be the case though, but let us know. And until then, we will catch you on the next one. I'll just put a weird voice over you that says later.
I don't have a soundboard. I don't have a voice modulator. Should get one.
I can still make that sounded demonic-ish. Don't worry.